Hey guys, what's up? It's Your Detective here, investigating your favorite movies. And today I'm going to be doing a couple videos, and my voice isn't as crisp as I wish it would sound, so bear with me here. And today I'm going to be doing a movie review on Kuru Otlar Üstüne. I'm sorry I'm not Turkish, so I'm gonna butcher some of these names. But in English, this is called About Dry Grasses, and it is a new feature film from Turkish art house filmmaker Nuri Bilge Ceylan. So, yeah, I guess Nuri Bilge Ceylan is one of the four horsemen of modern slow cinema. Of course, aside from him, we have the enchanting, magical maestro Apichatpong Weerasettakul from Thailand. From Taiwan, we have the amazing Tsai Ming-yang. And in China, we have Bigan, and maybe you can also put Hamaguchi Ryusuke into this mix of slow cinema. But there are probably way more filmmakers out there right now. Kelly Reichardt, who can also fall into the modern slow cinema canon. But one filmmaker that has been a bit of a darling for the Cannes Film Festival is Nuri Bilge Ceylan, because usually Cannes Film Festival do this. They acknowledge movies from all countries in the world, but usually they will pick one filmmaker that they particularly love and nominate the living shit out of him. And this one is Nuri Bilge Ceylan. And the only other film I've seen from him is Once Upon a Time in Anatolia. I watched this film 2 years ago for my cinematography class, and I was bored as hell. And I don't usually say that for slow movies because a lot of slow movies I watch are amazing. But for some reason, Once Upon a Time in Anatolia is a film that is so slow, it's kind of difficult to watch, kind of difficult to enjoy. So, going into About Dry Grasses, I certainly have a bit of doubt, but I'm happy to report that About Dry Grasses is really different from Once Upon a Time in Anatolia. This film, About Dry Grasses, is 3 fucking hours long, but yeah, it's slow paced, but I was never bored. Maybe it's because my tastes in films have changed, but also because I think this film is a lot more accessible. It doesn't feel boring at all, mainly because we have very interesting characters, beautiful visuals, riveting dialogue scenes that persist throughout the entire film, making this film eventful in a way, in an intellectual way. And again, like I have just mentioned, the landscape being portrayed in this film is beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful, gorgeous imagery in this film that is very beautifully shot, and the environment itself is almost like a character. But essentially, the first act of the movie is awesome. It is easily a 9 out of 10 for me. We have our main character, Somewhat, who is a substitute teacher, teaching in some small village in Turkey. Um, and he comes from, I guess, Istanbul or somewhere, and he's just come to this village as a substitute teacher, and he's teaching this class, and he gets close to this girl, and one day there's a bit of a conflict, and I guess this girl is pissed off at the teacher, and then they start beefing. So it's a grown ass man beefing with some girl who is a student who's probably only like 9 or 10 years old or something. And this entire section of the movie is equally as uncomfortable as it is equally funny. There are so many moments in this movie where I laughed out loud. And there are comedy movies nowadays that don't make me laugh at all, but somehow About Dry Grasses make me and so many other people laugh. Like the theater was filled with laughter during the first act of the film, which says something about the writer of this film. And also, just a side note, I watched this at USC for free. This is one of the perks of being a USC student. You can watch movies for free. So it's awesome to be able to go to a theater that I go to every single week for classes and then going to the same theater to watch a movie for free. So this is great. But yeah, I love the sense of humor that this movie has, and it really adds onto the realism that the movie was going for. Because if the movie's completely dry and serious, then it would just feel very drab, and the movie tries to avoid that. Now we enter the second act where he introduces his friend to another girl. And he's just being kind. He's just being a kind friend. He's like, "Oh, I think she would suit you. You two should like hang out more." He did that, and now his friend has outshone him. His friend has outshone him in the game of Riz. He got jealous and a bit mad, but doesn't want to show it. And this leads to a lot of nuance and subtle writing that is very, very clever. And, this isn't something very groundbreaking or mind blowing or anything like that. But when I was watching some of the dialogue scenes in the movie with these three characters, I would think, oh my god, there's so much nuance and there's so much subtlety at play here. Most of the writers I know cannot achieve such intelligence. This is really genuinely well written, and I was really enjoying it. However, this storyline doesn't really go anywhere, and it gets drab kind of fast, and I was beginning to fall asleep. And again, I was falling asleep not because this movie's boring, but because that day when I watched this film, I was really stressed out and extremely sleep deprived. But this drab section of the movie quickly ended with the dinner scene, which to a lot of people is probably the most boring, slow scene in the movie. But in my opinion, it's an amazing scene because the director went his way to make a dinner scene with dialogue so long, so wordy, so dense. It's maybe 10 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes long. It reminds me of Ingmar Bergman, the way the conversation sort of goes on and on and on and on, and it goes this direction, it goes that direction. The whole scene is just dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. And then it's suddenly abruptly stopped with this really epic shot of the back of the head. The camera sort of here, and it's the back of the head, and you sort of see the other character in the background and like the other way, and it's like, whoa, what's happening? And then you see this mysterious gust of wind passing through their heads, and it's like, what? And then following that, we have a fourth wall break that totally came out of nowhere. But instead of feeling like a gimmick, it just feels like the director having fun and poking fun at the situation. When somewhat broke the fourth wall and entered the soundstage, he walked into the freaking soundstage. I can hear some students sitting in the audience audibly gasping. And it's just cool because we're USC students and we know a thing or two about filmmaking. So when something like this happens, we're all very entertained. Now we have the ending of the film. It's fine. There's no real resolution to this story. There's no real ending, but it is a beautiful mini conclusion, I guess. And overall, the movie is about this asshole who is unlikable, who's a dick, and how he lives from day to day. And he continues being an asshole. He learned nothing by the end of the film. And I guess that's the movie. So there's nothing that philosophically deep about the movie, but still, it's amazing filmmaking, amazing craftsmanship, really great sense of humor, great intelligent writing, and I'm enjoying this movie for the most part. I'm feeling a decent 8 out of 10. So have you watched About Dry Grasses? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.